we're playing in Sunningdale. BBC does telecast for like 8 hours live, no advertisement. So Peter Alice was talking to Jack and covering me at the particular moment in the morning, and there are only 4 matches, so in 3 or 4 hours to cover 4 matches, some of them may have been over. So he's talking about me, Jay Sigel's record, this, that, and the other thing. He said, those of you who know him probably recognize he's got the biggest hands and the biggest feet of anyone his size that I know. He said, as far as his other accoutrements are concerned, he says, I don't really know. Now, does that sound like Alice?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So another one was at Pine Valley. Little did I know, being playing captain, that Colin Montgomery was their star. I knew he was their star player, but he had told his team that he hoped they played the old guy, and he was going to knock him off. Well, I didn't know that. I found that out afterward. Colin and I played. Well, I never saw the pins where they were. I played as well as I possibly. In fact, I played better than I possibly could, and I give my credit to my caddy Elmer, who's no longer there, but I bumped him off 5 and 4, and I think I was 6 under. And he took that back, but he asked me for a recommendation. Should he stay amateur and sell golf equipment, or should he turn professional? And I felt that amateur golf needed a top amateur like Colin Montgomery back then. So I told him, I said, no, I think he should stay amateur. Well, we've been together maybe a half a dozen, 8 times since then. He said, man, you're a great judge. Some of my experiences at Merion, I go all the way back to the World Amateur when I was here following Augusta. I was 17 at the time. Seeing Jack Nicklaus and Bob Charles, who have since become very, very good friends of mine, that was special. And I said, man, if I could ever do that someday, that would be incredible. All of the Hugh Wilsons that were played here that was one of my favorite events to play in. A better ball competition for the weekend. We had a lot of laughs, and I had a lot of success. Had good partners. To the 2 U.S. amateurs, of course, I first met Bob Hope here, and that was pretty neat. And one final story about Merion occurred in the Philadelphia Open. I was playing along. I was a teenager at the time, and I was doing quite well till I got to the 15th hole, and I happened to look in my bag, and it looked to me that there was a strange club in there, so I didn't look back. I took my towel and put it on top of it, and I wasn't about to look. So we go, because if I don't know and nobody else knows, then maybe there isn't an extra club in that bag. It sort of got to me. I bogeyed the next hole, and I bogeyed the next hole. Anyway, I ended up shooting 74 or something, but I had to take that towel off and look. And I think that was one of my first tests in life about the rules of the game. So I was about to, I guess, cheat. I did lift the towel off. No, I get headlines. Sigel shoots 110-70, largest comeback in golf. Well, interesting story, but at Merion. Another story, my last story. As you know, the second day's format is set 1 hour after play, and they pretty much know, but if somebody's hurt or not playing well, Buddy will change the format. Well, at Pine Valley, we pretty much knew what we were going to do. And Bud, you hadn't heard this story. So we get in, we got 1 hour. In this room, the wives are in the background, and players are sitting down, and this is what we want to do. And one of my players stands up and says, I can't play with him. His style is not like me. He goes, so I sit back. I am a choking dog. What in the world am I going to say? What are you going to say? That was already said. It was a given. One of my guys jumps up, college player. He says, give him to me. He says, we'll kill him. He's going like this, jumping and jiving. I said, whoa, thank you very much. I put them out first. They killed it. Well, they didn't kill the other team. That was the reason we won the match. That enthusiasm was rampant after that. I was dead in the water. I had no idea what to say. So you get one of your guys ready to jump up and say he's going to do that. But that's all I have to say. I'm delighted to see so many familiar faces, and hope you all have a nice day. And I'll hopefully see you guys and gals next week. Thank you.
And for you as a captain, and having seen the turnout when you had to go abroad, we heard Rod talk about this. What are your expectations, and what do you hope for in terms of support here stateside?
Well, I think that whether it's home or away, it's really nice for these young men to play in front of as many people as possible. The bigger crowds do add to the event. And I will tell you, that Sunday afternoon in Ireland, somewhere between 11 and 13,000 people were around that last green, and that was, that's an event of a lifetime. I mean, you don't forget those things. And I think that opportunity is here, and I'm hopeful that we will be able to stir up enough interest that we will get a lot of people out here, because it really does, it's a small group. It's match play. You go from 4 groups on the golf course to 3 groups on the golf course to 2 groups on the golf course. Things begin to pile up, and it really gets special at the end with all those people. So, and it's a lot of fun, and the kids really love playing in front of those people. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a big crowd.
And you rattling off some of the members of your team, and it's just interesting to see that. These where they go from there, and Dustin Johnson, Cole, right. You mentioned him. Brian Gay, who made our broadcast over the weekend not all that traumatic. He was that good. He was a former Walker Cupper, played in, I believe, 1993, and if I have my facts straight, I think he played against Podrick Harrington in a singles match, and they halved it. But it's a chance, don't you feel, for a lot of people to really see the future of the game, and also to be able to step foot and walk all the history of Merion when they come out.
Yeah, well, the matches are provide that opportunity to get up close and personal, which is unique. When we had the amateur, they're now letting the players walk. It's a little bigger field. This is international, which adds a flavor to it that most Americans don't get to see. So I think from that standpoint, it certainly is unique. The other thing, we'll talk a little bit about the way these matches were started. These matches were started in the early 20s to promote international goodwill between the United States and the countries in Europe after World War II. That's the foundation. Or World War I, excuse me. That's the foundation of the match. So, it's that kind of spirit that's kind of lasted all through time, to that camaraderie, to try to bring everybody together, and it kind of builds on itself. And I think that you don't get that in any other event. Even the Ryder Cup, which is a very commercial version maybe of what we have here, doesn't quite get the same feeling. So I think that the members here will be, anyone who comes here will be treated to that kind of environment, and they'll see something a little different.
With that, I'm going to introduce a couple folks who are joining us. Buddy Marucci, obviously to my left, really needs very little introduction. Buddy is a 2-time member of the Walker Cup team. He was the captain of the U.S. team in 2007, the victorious U.S. team, and returns as captain again this year. Buddy is our reigning USGA senior amateur champion, who will not be defending his title this year because of a conflict with the Walker Cup next weekend. And it's always an honor and a privilege to have Buddy here to join us. And we are also joined by 2 of the U.S. team members on the telephone who will be available for questions that you might have. Ricky Fowler is joining us on the phone. Ricky is 20 years old from Murrieta, California. This is his 2nd consecutive Walker Cup team selection. He was 3-1 in his matches in 2007 in leading the USA to a 1-point victory over Great Britain and Ireland. He's a 2-time first-team All-American, finished 3rd at both the 2009 NCAA Division I Championship and the 2009 Sunnehanna Amateur. Soon-to-be junior at Oklahoma State University, he also advanced to the 3rd round of match play at this year's U.S. Amateur Public Links. Also with us on the phone is Brian Harmon. Brian is 22 from Savannah, Georgia. Brian is also playing in his 2nd Walker Cup team, and he was 2-0-1 last time around in 2005. Brian is the 2003 U.S. Junior Amateur Champion, was a 2009 second team All-American selection, and he recently won the Dogwood Invitational and was runner-up at the Susquehanna Amateur. And with that, maybe I'll turn it over to Buddy for a couple comments, and we can go to the floor for some questions.
Thank you, Rand. Interesting to hear Jay reflect on that 1960 Eisenhower Trophy World Amateur team, because I'm sure Jay and I didn't know each other back then, but I lived across the street and was up in the top of the pine tree on the top of the 8th green in the pouring rain watching that, and I say this in all sincerity that I think my impressions of that event affected me and have affected me to this day. I don't think I ever dreamed that I would be in this capacity, forgetting ever being a captain, and I certainly never dreamed that I'd be able to compete in something such as that. And so for me, it's kind of overwhelming, not only to be sitting in front of you as the captain, but to be doing it at Merion. It's actually beyond words, but we'll get past that. I think the last 6 months has been an extraordinary time for me. We had a wonderful experience in Ireland the last time, but once the matches conclude, I was fortunate enough to get picked to do it again, and the work starts all over. It starts anew, and with a new cast of characters and young men and some mid-amateurs that you're trying to evaluate. And I think that Jay might agree, but I think the selection process is the most difficult part of this responsibility. It's difficult because at this particular time we have so many candidates that are worthy of being selected, and to get down to 10 is really a challenge. Our team this year is extraordinary in talent, tremendous chemistry between them, which is very important to me, and I know will represent the country in an immaculate manner, which when you get down to the bottom of it is really why these matches are played. So I'm very, very excited about them, and we're obviously looking forward to the next 2 weeks. In preparation, we'll be going to Caves Valley in Baltimore on Thursday evening, and we'll play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down there. We'll come up here on Sunday afternoon and start our preparation here next Monday. I think the most important thing that I bring away from this experience has just been the ability to get to know these young men and their families as well as I have. I can't overemphasize how important and how much that has meant to me to be able to get involved in their lives. And, we have a very big challenge ahead of us because the team from Great Britain and Ireland is captained by a wonderful gentleman in Colin Dalglish. He did it before. His team will be very well prepared. They will be very well mannered, and I know that they will play this golf course very well. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. But at the end of the day, I'm excited and enthused about our team, and I think we're going to perform well. So with that being said, maybe we can get some questions or anything you'd like to know about the individuals or what we're going to be facing.
I was very lucky to fall into the Walker Cup scene. When I left CBS to go to ABC, they were carrying the U.S. Open as one of the reasons I wanted to go to ABC. And the head of the USGA at the time was the elegant and delightful lawyer from San Francisco, who said in the contract, if you're going to take the U.S. Open, you must also do the Women's Open, the Men's Amateur, and the Walker Cup. So this did not make our business affairs people very happy, because the ratings were very minuscule for the Walker Cup. But for those of us in the production end, it was a godsend, because it filled in our resume, if you will, on golf, and gave us a really eagle's eye view of the first-class amateur golf around the world. I was lucky to have 3 Walker Cups in my resume, all beginning with P: Port Marnock, Pine Valley, and Peachtree. As Jay said, just look down the list of where these competitions have been held, and you'll see that the greatest golf courses in the world, and Merion now joins them. You all know the history of it, I'm sure. It predates the Ryder Cup by 5 years. It got instant history the first year in 1922 at the National Golf Links in Southampton, a course designed by Charles McDonald, to whom and where R.U. Wilson went to get some ideas about designing Merion. The captain of the American team was W. Founds of Oakmont, and the British captain came up injured or sick. Anyway, he had to be replaced, and he was replaced by a reporter who came over to cover for a London paper. The first, and many think the greatest golf writer of all time, Bernard Darwin, who indeed won his match against the American captain. The team had Bobby Jones, and we met, and it began a really solid historical march for the Walker Cup. You will find it very different than the Ryder Cup. It's a lot more quiet. I remember Port Monaco, the young 18-year-old Phil Mickelson. We had been covering Mickelson as a junior golfer on our telecast at ABC, so the producer asked him to come up after he finished the singles match on the last day to the television booth. I was working with Dave Marr. One of the Americans on the 17th hole at Port Monaco hit the ball to the right in a grove of trees in a dark place. And the young Mickelson said, "Boy, it's pretty dark in there, and it's filled with a lot of Irish women. Aren't they the ugliest looking women you've ever seen?" Well, you can imagine the silence and gasp that happened. I remember thinking, don't say anything that'll make it worse. And in the meantime, the truck woke up and said, "Say something to help them, say something." And I think finally Dave Marr said, "Would you like to rephrase that?" Anyway, to tell you how popular the Walker Cup was on television, we only got one complaint. And that was from the Irish ambassador to the United States. I think now that it's moved over to the Golf Channel, we'll get a lot more people watching. You will find it different. It's a lot less raucous than the Ryder Cup. The competition is every bit as good. Even the galleries are different. I remember Pine Valley having to go up to the pro shop, and I saw a doctor friend I knew, and next to him was standing John Cardinal Kroll, Archbishop of Philadelphia. I've done hundreds of golf tournaments and never saw a prince of the church in the gallery. As the aforementioned Mr. Darwin once said, golf is not a funeral, but both can be sad affairs. Well, the Walker Cup is a joyous affair, and you're going to enjoy it too. Thank you.